Now at 10 o'clock, the news with Hugh Edwards.
Tonight at 10, after months of fighting, the Islamic State group is now battling for survival in both Iraq and Syria. We report from the front line in Mosul, the Iraqi city where the global caliphate was declared 3 years ago.
This is the final push forward against the so-called Islamic State. It's a grueling advance here in the heat and the dust. This battle has dragged on for more than 8 months.
And in Syria, where US forces are supporting the fight, IS is under siege in the city of Raqqa.
But the question is, what happens when the caliphate falls? Because as we know from Afghanistan and from Iraq, it's always easier to get in than it is to get out.
We'll have the very latest on the fight against IS, as military experts say that their forces are now trapped. Also tonight, the judge who lead the public inquiry into the Grenfell Tower fire visits the site as local people express their fears.
Whether he will get to the bottom of who is responsible for causing the fire in the first place is a different matter, and that's the one that's really concerning residents at present.
So the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Unlock!
By a majority of 14, the Commons approves the Queen's speech and 2 years of the government's legislative plans. One of the most powerful figures in the Catholic Church, Cardinal George Pell, will return to Australia to deny historic charges of sexual abuse. Rupert Murdoch's bid to buy all of Sky is likely to be referred to the competition authorities. And we have the findings of a major new study into the effects of pesticides on bees.
On BBC London, an abrupt end at Kensington and Chelsea Council after the first full meeting since the Grenfell fire is quickly adjourned. And we see how emails showing how residents in this tower block flagged up safety concerns a decade ago.
Good evening. After months of relentless fighting, the Islamic State group is facing defeat in Mosul, its last big power base in Iraq. Government forces say they're finally set to recapture the entire city. It is 3 years ago to the day that so-called Islamic State in Mosul declared a global caliphate. Well, back then, IS controlled vast regions of Iraq and indeed neighbouring Syria. And now, after prolonged battles and countless military offensives in both countries, IS has been pushed back to the cities of Raqqa in Syria and Mosul in Iraq. In both places, they're now surrounded and fighting for survival. We'll get the latest from Syria in just a moment, but first this report from our correspondent Orla Guerin and cameraman Nicholas Hamian on the front line in the old city of Mosul.